Jordan Peterson has always been right wing, except the reason why it's very nefarious, the reason why the reason why Jordan Peterson was like considered to be dangerous by the left or whatever the fuck was because not only was he always right wing, he was able to couch his right wing ideology in objective, descriptive sentiments about how the universe works. Okay, when in fact the world that he was always developing and justifying was an inherently reactionary worldview. One where an inherently reactionary worldview was the norm, the attitude. Whether it be naturalization of hierarchies without actually talking about how this is the number one fucking fallacy, that the entire purpose of mankind is to overcome our natural tendencies, even if hierarchies are natural, okay? Like saying that it's good is what Jordan Peterson does, and that's the problem, right? Or his bastardization of Bill C-16, which actually was so disastrous that the Canadian Bar Association literally had to fucking put out multiple news releases to correct the record and whipped up the entire goddamn country as a consequence of American media also picking up that story into a frenzy about how people are going to go to jail for, you know, misgendering trans people and all this other stuff. His inconsistent attitude on whether trans women are women or not. Sometimes he'll be like, I do agree they are women. And then other times in television, he'll be like, they are not women. Only someone who has the capacity to give birth is a woman. You know? Jordan Peterson has always been a right-wing reactionary shitlord. He also operates as, Deepak Chopra for the incels. And he has some pretty basic pop psychology, self-help advice in the form of, 12 rules for life, which is fine. But the issue is he also uses that as a launching pad for conservative ideology, conservative opinions. We don't understand the consequences of like birth control, allowing women to have sexual reproductive freedom, and then also being able to work in the fucking workplace, and then being really depressed as a consequence of that. So that is like the exact same shit that Republicans say. But when Jordan Peterson says it, some of you motherfuckers still are to this day claiming that he's not actually right wing. I mean, what else do you want him to do? This homie, okay, literally was on Turning Point USA alongside Charlie Kirk, Dan Crenshaw, Donald Trump Jr., Tucker Carlson. Like, he has routinely cast doubt on climate change science. Even climate change science. He is never, like, I can't even think of one single thing that Jordan Peterson believes that is, like, even remotely left-wing. So if it was just self-help shit, then that's one thing. But it's not just self-help shit. It's absolutely self-help shit to justify a naturalistic, objectivist, reactionary worldview. Economics also exists. Do you think Jordan Peterson is not incredibly pro-capitalist? What kind of idiotic baboon brain do you have where you suspect that Jordan Peterson is not a hyper-capitalist shithead? The entire point is that he justifies the capitalist organization of the economy and routinely fearmongers about a socialist alternative. Jordan Peterson is famous for regularly bastardizing two separate concepts by merging two ideologies or two philosophies that don't even fucking work alongside one another, which is, the postmodernist neo-Marxists. Okay? That's his main fucking thing. Not only that, but he's also absolutely got fucking cumstered and dumpstered by a literal dumpster diving raccoon. Okay? An actual dumpster diving raccoon that goes akimbo on hot dogs, okay? That is just, barely a fucking human being. destroyed him so hard that he, went into a crippling benzo addiction that almost ended up killing him. Like, he got clapped up by the big dog, bro. Sorry. And the way that he got clapped up by the big dog was just a simple question. Where are the Marxists? That's it. Where are the Marxists? And that was it. He had no answer to that. Where he openly admitted to one of the most prolific fucking leftist, philosophical writers that he had not even read anything beyond the Communist Manifesto, which is a fucking pamphlet. Yes, that's a real... My God. My God. You say that there are Marxists in university. This is ideology. Anyway, so why is Zizek not a human being? Because he's a raccoon, dude. He is not a human being because he's a dumpster diving raccoon. So, anyway, as I was saying, Jordan Peterson has always been a charlatan. He's always utilized self-help to red pill people, per se. Maybe he didn't do it on purpose. Maybe that was just his worldview. Maybe he genuinely believes in, developing a world where people are like that. Every now and then he has a good idea, but that does not actually, salvage his overall horrifying accomplishments. But he's also an academic with a pretty high journal impact factor for his publications are actually legit. He's still a closet right-winger. So this is the other part of it that is also simply untrue. Jordan Peterson is not like a incredibly well-credentialed academic. And I don't know why his followers assume that he is, specifically because they don't have an understanding of that, and they are, they love any sort of person that comes across as this intellectual, because his audience is all of these fucking dickheads who are pseudo intellectuals that think just because someone is not using or doing vocal fry or looks like I do, that this person must be fucking brilliant. You know what I mean? And that's what the point is. I'm not saying he's not. No, I think Jordan Peterson is smart. He's smart enough to fucking, go from being some fucking weirdo, nonsensical college professor who wrote about his grandmother's pussy hair in one of his books, Maps of Meaning, to, becoming becoming a person of notoriety. Yes, that's true. Jordan Peterson famously wrote about his grandmother's pussy hair in a dream that he saw in Maps of Meaning. That is a literal, real thing. So many Jordan Peterson fans have never actually read any of his fucking work. So it's hilarious when some dumb bitch says, oh, he has actually incredible journalistic, or he has pretty high journal impact. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He's still a closet right-winger. He's not a closet right-winger, and we're going to talk about that in a second. He tries to give unsolicited opinion on things that aren't relevant to his field. Clinical psychology isn't environmentalism or market economics. I've met him and his grad students multiple times, by the way. The funny part is that, one, he's not even fucking remotely a super relevant clinical psychologist, okay? If anything, he's become more relevant now as a consequence of being relevant for all of the other areas that are completely outside of his fucking realm of interest or knowledge, okay? That is the only reason why... The only fucking reason why Jordan Peterson might have any sort of fucking play now in the academic field. Impact factor is an objective measure of practical significance. Would be curious to verify Chatter's claim if true.
What you are fighting against, as sometimes you call it postmodern neo-Marxism. I know what you mean. All this.
By the way, this is literally, how good is that impression that I just did? Bro, you just outed yourself as a Jordan Peterson reader? Guys, I've been covering Jordan Peterson for a very long time. I've been covering Jordan Peterson for many years. I've been covering Jordan Peterson since he popped the fuck off. That's why I have all of this fucking Jordan Peterson data in the back of my mind, because like I have been forced to learn so much and describe over and over again to millions of people on the internet that he is not, he is not the guy that you think he is. And for the longest time, I thought I was a fucking crazy person, because there were people like Ethan, okay, who thought that he was just like a chill dude that was owning the libs, and like libs were getting fucking crazy because they were getting owned by him because he was a brilliant debater. Okay? That's also why I can do a great Jordan Peterson. It's probably my best fucking, my best voice. Last year, you even dedicated an entire stream on watching him. I mean, that was nothing. That's like, we looked at like my older videos that I've done on him. Okay? I've been duking it out in the fucking... Guys, I've been duking it out in the field. In the intellectual marketplace for a very long time about shit like this. You were in the trenches when Jordan Peterson started his grift. I have a lot of great videos on him. The problem is that like so many people ripped into me back then, and they've changed their minds now, but there's still plenty of people that are like, no, Jordan Peterson's not a right winger. It's like, he very clearly is. Okay, here.
From political correctness to these excesses of whatever spirit of envy and so on and so on. Do you think they are really... Where did you find this data? I don't know them. I would ask you here, give me some names or whatever. Where are the Marxists here? I don't know any. I don't... Who is a Marxist here? Well, show me any big names of political correctness. Well, I think they fear like a good vampire fears garlic. This is why they are already, the one who is not a Marxist, but at least approaches economic topic, Bernie Sanders, he is already under attack as white male and all that stuff and so on. My problem would be with this one. What you describe as postmodern neo-Marxism, where is really the Marxist element in it? They are for equality. Sorry, where? They are for equality at these cultural struggles, proper names, how do we call each other?
Is Slavoj Žižek any good? I mean, don't listen to his opinion on like fucking, I don't know, pan-European supremacist attitudes and like immigration. And also, maybe don't listen to his stuff on like trans people. But like, other than that, he's great. I mean, I rip him all the time. I do impressions of him all the time. I talk about Žižek and probably Chomsky's difference in opinion on authoritarian constructs, or even agreements on authoritarianism versus, or more authoritarian societal developments versus like libertarian ones all the time. If you've ever heard me talk about like neoliberal methods of control and dissemination of information versus a country that is more authoritarian and its level of control of dissemination of misinformation or information, then you heard Žižek's takes. Žižek is more a Stalinist? He's not a fucking Stalinist, dude. I mean, come on. Yes, he has a photo of Stalin, but like... also, Pervert's Guide to Cinema, Pervert's Guide to Ideology. He's very good. Remembering that Žižek is literally a 70-year-old Slovenian man. Žižek is also a gamer and says the N-word. Yeah, this was a funny meme that came out of it. Dude, he was like whipping him, dude. There are almost like zero perfect philosophers, even Žižek and Chomsky. We just have to take the parts that we deem good and moral and apply that to our own beliefs, chat. Yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, don't. There has quite literally never been a single philosopher that whose philosophy has been, his moral system has been intact, that also simultaneously has lived out their own desires in an in a normal way that you would consider to be good overall. Okay, I mean, I've talked about Kant numerous times on here in the past. That doesn't change like the categorical imperative or anything like that, but I mean, homie straight up thought that like, black people were born when the white baby turned black as it came out of the black mother's vagina. So, and also was deeply fucking racist, like incredibly racist. So, that joke about Zizek being a gamer is not just a joke if you didn't know. No, I do know. I already said that. I said that he is a gamer. If you're French, that's because he's French. If you're French, you're born with a raisin bone. There's another bone. If you are a French philosopher, there's another bone. It's not just the racism bone. I will not say it out loud, or rather, I'll just don't search Foucault, Age of Consent. Don't search Age of Consent. Insert French philosopher name. You will not like that. That will never do that. That is not good. Okay. That's just never good. I don't think that that's a good thing to search. Do not search that. Don't ever search. Every French philosopher was a writer for Le Résiste Pédophile. Yes. Wait, where are the racist pedophile factory? Very good. I am working on the front lines of the racist pedophile factory. Churning out le thought is very good. Okay. We're on the forefront of the racist pedophile thought. Very good. Okay. Oh, dude, I saw this already. I know what you're going to say. Dude, my favorite. Wait, where? Oh, is this not the new one? Zizek wrote a review of the new Matrix movie and then openly admitted in his review that he did not watch the movie and that he does not need to watch the movie and that he actually simply here it is, boringly postmodern and ideological fantasy. Slavoj Žižek reviews Matrix Resurrections. Every reader has for sure noticed that in my description of the movie, I heavily rely on a multitude of reviews in which I extensively quote. The reason is now clear. In spite of its occasional brilliance, the film is ultimately not worth seeing, which is why I also wrote this review without seeing it. He fucking admitted it too. What the fuck? Have you taken the time to think that maybe your IQ is just much too low to understand these people? Be humble. Wait, what? I've read Pubes of Chaos and it's not what you think it is. If you actually took your time to read his work, you'd understand him better. Pubes of Chaos is actually a good read. I've met Jordan Peterson and he's honestly misunderstood. Okay, this dude has Hezbollah on his fucking PFP. There's no shot. There's no shot that we have dude who has Hezbollah on his fucking PFP who's saying Gideon didn't deserve to ban. Twitch is so soft. Jordan Peterson donated a shit ton of animals to farmers in third world countries, bro. Calm down. Okay, this is you're behaving like the Dragon of Chaos, aka a woman, okay? That's definitely bait. And you know what? You know what we do now? I've grown. I've grown. I've learned. I'm better now. Okay? I just serve you the top of the hour ad break at 12:12 instead of like actually at 12. You know what I mean? Because at the top of the hour there's a 60-second ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, if you want an ad-free broadcasting experience, then all you need to do in order to combat the postmodernist neo-Marxists that are serving you ads like the main socialist Jeffrey Jebediah Bezos, all you need to do is subscribe. We know what happens when the right goes too far, and that's no good. Do we know what happens when the left goes too far? That's right. No one knows. Oh, man. First 2 minutes of Jordan Peterson cries while telling the working class to work harder. Yeah. Anyway, here's the ad break now. Thank you, Dropping Brown, Baby Scarlet. Hey, Tiny Cat. These are all men. Strong men. Gifted 5 subs to everyone in the chat. What would we do without them? Here's the woman ad break now. Okay. LMFAO, all of Twitch chat Googled Zizek. I mean, Slavoj Zizek probably gets a lot of fucking play regardless, but yes. Seemingly Twitch chat is now Googling him more than before. But yeah, I mean, if you look at it in comparison to like the fucking past day, it's still not going to be the highest. Oh, never mind. It is actually technically the highest. Okay, if you look at it in the past 7 days, though, it won't be the highest. Okay, it seems like it is the highest. Never mind. Okay, maybe Twitch chat is actually literally just frantically searching Zizek right now. That is surprising, though. A lot of people fucking search him. People in Vermont are like, who's this Zizek guy? Great squirrel thread. Jordan Peterson is trending because he's apparently writing another 12 Rules for Life, which I think warrants a trip down memory lane. Thread with clips revealing him to be a grifter of the highest order, beginning with the time he got destroyed within the span of a few seconds. Right. Oh, yeah. Fucking Jim Jeffries fucking owned him, too. Right. Fucking Jim Jeffries owned his ass. Mate. Jim fucking Jeffries owned him. You got owned by a fucking bogan. Just kidding. Jim Jeffries not bogan. Anyway, let's watch.
Making people bake a cake for a gay wedding.
Making them do it?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a very good idea.
But here's the argument. So should they be able to deny making a cake for a black couple if they don't like black people?
Allowed to? Probably. That doesn't mean it's right.
Okay, so then we had the civil rights movement where they said black people, you had to serve them in your restaurants and stuff like that. And it did work and it did make our society better. But would you argue that that still wasn't right?
No, that was right.
Why is that different to now if you didn't want to make a cake for black people?
I love when I'm in 2020 whenever this was shot, okay? And I'm still contemplating whether or not there should be a civil rights act. It's pretty cool though, because he's so open-minded. Remember, guys, he's misunderstood, okay? But he's so open-minded, he's still contemplating whether or not black people should be able to drink from the same water fountain. And the same goes for homosexuals. I mean, that is actually, you're just misunderstood, I think. Because we just don't understand him. Just like he doesn't understand, why marginalized communities should be protected in a society that often oppresses and marginalizes them. I don't understand.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not different. No, that was right.
Why is that different?
Look, he took a firm stance. It only took him like 20 seconds to get there, but he had to think it through. It's like homie had to think through the pros and cons of the civil rights movement, okay? Only to extend it to gays as well.
That still wasn't right.
No, that was right.
Why is that different to now if you didn't want to make a cake for black people?
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not different.
Yeah.
Maybe I was.
See, the one time he takes a stance, he instantly changes it. Yeah, well, that's the other thing. So most people also loved claiming that Jordan Peterson just like simply wasn't saying what you thought he was saying. Why did he always get away with that? Because he refused to actually fucking take a firm stance on things and made it seem as though he was simply offering descriptive statements, okay? Even though the underlying premise was guided by his ideology, okay? And that's precisely why people would always say, you're taking him out of context. You should read all of his books. You should read all of his you should watch all of his videos. You should watch all of the, lectures that he did. And the reality is that, like, he is a collection of all of his attitudes and all of his fucking takes and all of his opinions. And it's not that he was, like, sometimes in the wrong or whatever the fuck. He personally absolutely fucking believes this shit. But for so many people, it was very hard for them to recognize that he was actually a fucking right-winger from the jump. Okay? And see, this is it. Wasn't this interview heavily clipped against his favor? No. You can say that about everything, bro. You will say that about everything forever because you don't want your intellectual daddy that you have developed a parasocial affinity for to look like a fucking pathetic right-winger, okay? That's what it is. But he himself admits it. And actually, I'm going to show you this in a brief moment because Ethan did a better job than maybe I could even do.
For years, I had this thing going where people would say, oh, and this is kind of what we're getting at from a different angle. I would say they would be afraid of what we would lose if we lost religion. And I basically said, demonstrate to me any benefit.
Oh, you'd lose art and poetry and drama and narrative and
why?
story.
Are there no godless artists and poets?
Well, there are artists and poets who think they're godless.
What a psychotic take. But by the way, I don't know if many of you know this, and this is one of the best ways to get like all of those fucking weirdo right-wing adjacent Andys to like despise Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson has a gigantic following in the Muslim world. Or takes exactly like that. Okay? Because he is a conservative. He is a reactionary. And there are a lot of conservative Muslims who literally fucking watch Jordan Peterson lectures and go, that's my guy. Okay? Straight up. Because he is no different in his worldview and attitudes than a Muslim fundamentalist. Obviously, his takes his takes on Islam are, just as annoying as every other Sam Harris wannabe, Sam Harris archetype, but so he literally is the worst human being ever because he has no factual basis, no common sense. He's just a conservative. He's not the worst human being, but he is just a conservative. That's it. He's just a reactionary conservative who is like very religious and believes in a really rigid way that the world works. And that often puts him diametrically opposed to like other worldviews and values that he is supposed to espouse, because he can't be open and honest about some of the more nefarious and awful points of view that he has. He has to always couch it under objective thought. He always has to hide his worldview in statements that come across as neutral and academic. Okay? So when he actually ends up fucking up and like taking an understandable stance on a particular subject, he always... Peterson takes are disingenuous and delusional. At this stage, if you've never watched me listen, or if you've never listened to me talk about, oh, he said Pepela, fuck you. If you're in here and you're still like a fan of Jordan Peterson, I urge you to be open-minded, okay, about what I am going to say. I've always been right about Jordan Peterson for a very long time. But, you know, just be open-minded. Try to be as open-minded as you possibly can. Okay? He himself has said he's more liberal than conservative. So is Tim Pool. Are you stupid enough to believe that Tim Pool is a liberal? Tim Pool says he's a liberal. Dave Rubin says he's a liberal. Do you think these guys are liberals? Or do you think that there's actually a lot of money to be made by making it seem like you yourself are a liberal who just simply agrees with everything that the conservatives agree with? Huh. Anyway, it's like when Sargon said he's a classical liberal and I believed him in 2016. Yeah, a lot of people did that. Yeah, I'm a classical liberal and I believe the left has gone too far, and that's why I no longer believe in climate change science that's well established and there's a scientific consensus on it. Anyway, so Jordan Peterson's response to the H3H3 drama. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second. It's honestly the centrist trap making people feel like they are more reasonable, both sidesing it. Yeah. He is a centrist, or he operated like a centrist all the time at a time when like being a centrist was the most poppin' shit you could do. Okay? It was just like, I used to like you. What? What is that even? This person, first of all, I'm rejecting your friend request. You're very close to a ban. I'm just letting you know, Cal Coomingham. You do this every day, and it fucking annoys me. Okay. But yeah, Jordan Peterson has always had reactionary takes. He's always been a fucking burden on society in general. And it has been really, really frustrating, most importantly, because like, oh, he was referencing what Jordan Peterson said to Ethan Klein in that Twitter thread? Oh, okay.
If a young person believes that the climate, the global warming problem on the climate is something that needs to be tackled quickly, and they can't wait until they grow up and become prime ministers to do it, do you think collective responsibility overrides individual responsibility in a huge issue like that?
No.
Okay.
I don't. Okay. I think generally people have things that are more within their personal purview that are more difficult to deal with and that they're avoiding, and that generally the way they avoid them is by adopting pseudo-moralistic stances on large-scale social issues so that they look good to their friends and their neighbors. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, no, dude. It's like, no, the way to tackle climate change is not through systemic change whatsoever, which, by the way, I don't even believe is real, for the record. It's actually by, using a paper straw and also reusing your plastic bags, and by recycling. Cleaning the environment starts with cleaning your room. After all, what is the environment if not just a large room? Only you can change the climate, which is not even changing. Yeah. No, what he's trying to say there is that people don't want to change themselves. People don't want to change their behaviors, and that's why they act like they care about changing the climate, and they use it as a cop-out to be like, well, I'm trying to make systemic change. But it's like, that is only applicable to someone like Jordan Peterson, or that is only applicable to someone if that person legitimately is as disingenuous as Jordan Peterson is. That's the whole point. Jordan Peterson cannot comprehend a world in which people are genuinely saying, no, we want systemic fucking change, dude. Well, holy shit. And there's no other way to correct the course. Okay? That's the point. He is using, I guess, more academic language to basically say these people are virtue signaling. Okay? That's it. And you can make his takes as easy to understand as possible. Okay? It's just like he adds multiple different unnecessary complexities into his language to make it seem like it's actually an objective, academic, neutral take, when it's just him saying it's virtue signaling. I mean, is he wrong? Oh, come on. Stop baiting me, man. Stop. It's so fucking annoying. Do you think that JP has done more bad than good? He seems to really believe he's beneficial to people. Yeah, because he's a narcissistic asshat. Of course he thinks he's been beneficial to people. And no, I personally absolutely believe he's been worse overall. Anyway, this is the reason why this entire conversation started was because Ethan, on his own, by the way, I just want to fucking point this out because motherfuckers are like, dude, you did this or whatever. Very strange. First of all, I would have never told Ethan to delete the Jordan Peterson videos. I would not delete the Jordan Peterson videos. I understand why he did it, but I would not have deleted the Jordan Peterson videos. Not only that, but also I've been asking him to try to get Jordan Peterson on, and he is working on it as well. So there's that. So let's just remind ourselves of this reality before we continue. Many of you that are in here already know what my stances are on this stuff, so it doesn't really matter. But you know, it bears repeating, especially because it's probably going to be a YouTube video eventually. So, Ethan, a couple days ago, or I guess yesterday, technically, I don't know exactly when it was, but he said, or 20 hours ago, so yesterday, said, years ago, I interviewed Jordan Peterson before I was very familiar with his politics. He was an interesting guest who I enjoyed sitting with, but especially now I can see he's a dangerous gateway to alt-right, transphobia, and COVID misinfo. I removed both interviews today. So people got mad at him for doing this and said, you know, you're fucking piece of shit. And then they started getting into, this is pretty funny, but other than like this funny joke, people basically started getting into the same old rehashed arguments of like Jordan Peterson Defense Brigade. It was like live and alive, basically. Sometimes I feel like the thing that killed Jordan Peterson wasn't Michaela Peterson, you know, who tried to get him to get experimental benzo therapy, but actually just people not paying attention to him, because reactionaries have nothing. It wasn't the apple cider. It was the fact that, like, you know, he went away, so Democrats and liberals no longer paid attention to him. And I think that that is the reason why there was no brigade defending him anymore. You know what I mean? Because that is the only way that the right galvanizes. That is the only way that the right get together. Wait, what is this? Why did Bruce say this? I can't see the Keemstar tweet. I tried to look at it in incognito and it's not showing. Did he get him to delete it? Anyway, he said Bruce DM. So basically, oh, this is pretty funny, by the way. Jordan Peterson literally responded to him on this one too. He said, "Not anymore. It's now shiny, clean, and beautiful too, like the rest of my house. Now that I finished renovating and recovered from being ill." So a lot of people started defending Jordan Peterson out of nowhere. Like, people that had just fucking totally forgotten about him were like, actually, I remember all of the old takes. You know, I remember all the reasons why I love Jordan Peterson, and started fucking doing the same thing that they always do to Ethan, whenever he says anything, okay? Whenever he says anything, it's like, dude, you're fat, shut the fuck up. Or, dude, you said the N-word, you said the F-word live on your show, shut the fuck up. It's like, dude, this is a deeply frustrating thing, and it's not just for Ethan. I know that people immediately will be like, you're rushing to defend your co-host or whatever the fuck. This is at the heart of what I believe in. This is why I do what I do. You guys already know this, but maybe there's some new people in here. But I personally believe that people have the capacity to change, okay? Ethan has said the N-word. Yeah, of course. I believe that people have the capacity to change, okay? Especially if they have changed. They've demonstrated that they've changed. They openly fucking apologized for what they have said. I said, of course, because, like, he's a fucking, yeah, he's a YouTuber. He's a YouTube Andy. He was like a fucking, he was on, like, the anti-Hasanabi pipeline. Like, you know what I mean? Okay? The point is, that's not who he is. You know what I mean? That's not who he is anymore. That's the point. And if you try to constantly pin people to who they were, then you are not interested in having productive conversations. You're not interested in being a real progressive. You are just still a very draconian, Amera-brained dickhead, okay? And a lot of people on the internet are like this. Liberals are like this. Stan Twitter is like this. And Republicans absolutely are like this. N-word equals comedy? That's not what I'm saying at all. I am not saying that it was acceptable. You know what my take on this is, okay? You know what my take on this is. Shut the fuck up. But also, that's Ethan's take as well. He knows it's unacceptable. So the fact that so many people are like, immediately, so many people were like, oh, you fucking deleted this clip? Well, then fuck you. Here's a video of you saying the N-word. You know? And it is so strange. It's so fucking strange that, like, you know, conservatives who have made a living constantly fucking writing video essays about how, like, shitty SJWs are. How shitty the leftists are for, you know, saying that there's no way to rehabilitate someone, that people are simply good or bad, okay? And that, you know, people lack the capacity to change, and constantly reducing them to their worst moments, okay? Like, if you're using shit from, like, 2014, 2015, 2016, when someone has already personally taken the steps to apologize and have very clearly shown you that they've changed, you're not actually interested in building a real argument. All you are interested in is to fucking take pot shots at someone and try to get other people on their side to hate that person. That's just simply it. I do not care. Okay? People will always say, oh, dude, you love cancel culture. You love cancel culture. You love cancel culture. It's like, no, I don't. Nobody loves cancel culture. I've gotten canceled more times than you have, 1,000%. Okay? I have gotten publicly canceled by the Republicans. I've gotten canceled by fucking Jake Tapper. I've gotten canceled by liberals. I've got canceled by everybody, okay? You're a fucking idiot. You're just a dumbass. But the most I've ever been canceled is obviously Republicans. Republicans have canceled me 1,000,000 times over. Okay? I get canceled at least twice a month. Exactly. I have been talking, one of the things I've been talking about for many, many years on this broadcast is my attitude on rehabilitation. If you've been in here for long enough, you already know this. This is something I've talked about 1,000,000 times over, about privilege blind spots and about rehabilitation. Okay? So seeing so many people be like, oh, dude, fuck, you know, this happened to Pokimane earlier this week. Now it's happening to Ethan. And it's happening all the time. And these people think that it actually works, but it doesn't work. Because most people understand that. Like, most people understand that people have the capacity to change. Okay? And that's precisely why it's not going to work. No one is going to fucking, cancel Ethan for what he said however many years ago, when he clearly is not advocating for shit like that anymore and recognizes that it was wrong. You know what I mean? So what are you going to do? What do you want to do? You want to kill him? What do you want? You want to jail him, dude? You want to lock him up? You can't do anything. He's changed. What are you going to do? Too late. Sorry. You're too late. So that stuff is really fucking stupid. I hate it when the liberals do it. I hate it when the left does it. And I hate it when, I hate it when he does it as well. When right-wingers do it as well, obviously. Funniest part about right-wing weirdos is their constant need to bring up old shit that people have apologized for years after they have clearly changed. Just because you're incapable of changing doesn't mean others aren't. Self-reflection and growth is at the heart of progress. As I've said time and time again. I also have talked before about privileged blind spots. These people love making a killing, shitting on cancel culture initiative and behavior only to weaponize old clips in the most cynical ways possible. Everyone who's spent enough time on my stream knows people's attitudes. Changing is a huge part of my advocacy. So everybody has privileged blind spots. And we are products of our systems, right? Everyone has privileged blind spots. We are products of the material and social conditions that we are subjected to. Okay? And that those attitudes that we grow up with change our understanding of the world. And if you as a leftist understand that we live in a very racist and very homophobic, very bigoted societal structure, very transphobic, then you understand why people are that way, right? So this is something that I care about. I believe that a lot of people can change that attitude, re-examine, self-reflect, and recognize that that's wrong and change that behavior. That is at the heart of everything I do in this community. That is at the heart of what I believe in. That is precisely why. Don't you get tired fighting Ethan's battles for him? I do not give a shit about Ethan Klein in this circumstance. I care more about this is a trending subject that is completely in my fucking personal universe of thought. This is like Hasanist thought to a T. Okay? Ethan can fight his own battles. He has a gigantic community who loves him, and they're doing a great job regardless. The reason why I'm covering this and the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's a good opportunity to teach people what I personally believe in. Okay? What is this Jordan Peterson ratio, this clown? Anyway. Riding party waves are fun, but that said all to yourself is something else you'll always meet back in the lineup. I don't know what that is. Anyway, as I was saying, it's very easy to just be like, oh, dude, you're doing this because of Ethan. It's like, no, this is a trending subject, and that's precisely why I'm covering it, but that doesn't mean I'm covering it because I want to defend Ethan. I'm covering it because this is what I believe in. If you look up, like, okay, here, I just Googled privileged blind spots, cancel culture. Hasanabi talks cancel culture 11 months ago. Hasanabi reacts to cancel culture. Is there another way? 5 months ago. Cancel culture Hasanabi 1 month ago. Like, I'm willing to bet that I will play whatever the fuck I play from a year ago, from 5 years ago. Woke Bay, not so woke, cancel culture, cultural appropriation rant from 3 years ago. And you will hear the exact same things I've been saying for many, many, many years. But the only difference is that people refuse to hear what my perspective is on this matter and immediately say, you're a leftist, you love cancel culture, leftists love cancel culture. Okay? I have always been consistent on my attitude on cancel culture, what I believe in.
That's the best way to describe it, okay?
Here.
He was referencing the Tyler, the Creator, calls himself that. I just don't... I don't know what the deal is. I didn't look into it, to be honest. Like, I didn't look into it because I've just been mourning John McCain. I've been watching the funeral live stream over and over again, crying. You know, thinking about how you know, John McCain represented just radical centrism. Not really, but you know, that's what a lot of people want to think. So yeah, I've just been so distraught over John McCain's grave. Yeah, it's a little ridiculous at this point. It's like, all right, dude, you know. Anyway, Eminem has said it a lot before too, though. Well, I mean, I think back when Eminem said it a lot, it was like debated as to. I mean,
we're talking about the F word. Tyler, the Creator, apparently used the F word or something.
That doesn't make it right, but let's remember what the culture was like back then, right? It was definitely a lot more different than now, and people were like trying to have a conversation as to whether it was even like contextually like anti-gay as a slur. It was, of course, and like I said, as a collective we decided that it was bad, and even back then people knew that it was bad. But I still remember the South Park episode, you know what I mean? Like, not saying that the South Park episode is important, but it provides a cultural reference point, you know, to give you an understanding of whether or not this is considered hate speak at the time. There was an entire episode dedicated to whether to the F word not being considered a hate slur, that you can be gay and an F word, but mostly it has nothing to do with being gay, blah blah blah, all that stuff. You know what I mean? So like Eminem was he said a lot worse things than that too. I mean, he very graphically.
Okay, we're skipping this part. This is 43 minutes and it's not fucking edited, but
it's not necessarily defensive. It seems like it's offensive most of the time, and that's what I think a lot of people have a hard time getting on board with call out culture. You know what I mean? Not like I said, I'm not even saying that it's bad across the board. Like a lot of people have a hardline stance to that. A lot of people have a hardline stance against canceling people, all this stuff. A lot of you have a hardline stance for canceling people, you know? Privately, it is more of a caring conversation, absolutely. Thank you, Jojo J. Rowe. Yeah,
but for the record, I had like, I don't know, like fucking 30 people in here at this point, or like maybe 100 people.
Somewhat dangerous and somewhat an aspect, an element of the left that definitely deserves a little bit more of a.
Here, I'm just gonna reduce it to this. Okay, are you ready? Cancel culture is conducted by both sides of, or all sides of the ideological spectrum. Nobody gives a shit. They just weaponize it against who the fuck they hate. Okay. There are understandable efforts to deplatform certain people that are actually incredibly harmful, causing misinformation, yada, yada, yada. Deplatforming works. Obviously, look at Milo, look at Alex Jones. Deplatforming has actually worked tremendously well on them. However, as far as cancel culture goes, everybody does it. It's fucking annoying. Everybody hates it. Especially worse when someone is pulling out old shit, okay, that you no longer believe. That's idiotic to bring up old shit that you no longer believe if you are canceling someone for what their current position is. Okay? If the old shit that they've said also corresponds to their current position, then that's understandable. If someone is racist 10 years ago and they're still racist now, then that makes sense. But if someone is racist 10 years ago and not racist now, and anti-racist as a matter of fact, and you are the fucking racist Groiper account on Twitter being like, I can't believe you said the N-word. How curious. It's like, motherfucker, I just looked at your profile. You're saying the N-word on your profile right now. Numerous times. You are a literal Nazi, and you're trying to fucking act like you're offended and shocked that someone said the fucking N-word, dude. Anyway. So. That shit blows my fucking mind. It makes me blow a goddamn gasket, okay? It's very, very frustrating. Oh. I hate it. You have to admit the video clip looks pretty bad. Of course it does. Of course. No one is saying it's good, dumbass. Why the fuck would anyone be like, this clip of someone saying the N-word is good? Like, it's not. Of course it's not good, you fucking idiot. What? Oh, wow, dude. What a brilliant take, man. Thank you. Thank you for your brave take, dude. You fucking did it, dog. You fucking did it, bro. That's so good. That's so good, man. Thank you for saying that, you know, a clip of someone saying the N-word is not good. We were really confused on that take. So, stunning and brave. What do you want, a fucking cookie, dumbass? Everybody knows that. Everybody already agrees on that. We're talking about how people utilize that, okay? In the words of the great Lang Buddha, who I DM'd last night because I was like, I love that one quote that Lang Buddha used to always have. What was it? And I'm just going to read it actually to you. And I'm going to do his voice. I'm going to try to do his voice when I read it. Okay? In the words of the great Lang Buddha, judging someone by their past is judging someone who never existed. I fucked it up. It sounds like Jordan Peterson when I said it. I love that. I love that Lang Buddha always says judging someone by their past is judging someone who never existed. Okay? That's what he used to say to Donnie all the time. Donnie, judging someone by their past is judging someone who never existed, Donnie. Is that better? No. And Donnie was such a cancel culture. Andy, yes. Donnie loved cancel culture. I mean, Donnie killed people. So, yes. The ultimate cancel culture. So, yeah, judging someone by their past is judging someone who doesn't exist. Sorry. Judging somebody that doesn't exist anymore. So, the point is this, okay? The point is this. Like, all of these people in the fucking quote tweets, from the Groypers to the liberals to the fucking, you know, Andy no Andys, okay? The Andy no fans, like, they're all extremely disingenuous in the way that they're fucking shitting on Ethan. Do I be like, he said the N-word or the F-word? That's really fucked up. Shut the fuck up, you bitch, whatever. And it's so fucking stupid. Like, you are quite literally engaging in cancel culture in the worst kinds, okay, of cancel culture. You just don't care. You just do not care because it's your ideological enemy, and it's really disingenuous, and it's really fucking unproductive. Now, having said that, anger focused inward instead of the people out there dropping hard R's. We play into the right's hands when we do the shit. Wait, what? Haven't you said plenty of times that cancel culture doesn't exist and isn't really a thing? I'm just confused. It doesn't exist in the way that people claim it does. It's just because, like, Ethan is not fucking canceled. I haven't actually been canceled. I've been canceled more times than anyone else, but, like, it's not real in the sense that, like, nothing, material harm is in most circumstances completely immaterial. It's not a significant amount of material harm that you can cause to someone. There's no, like, actual results of cancel culture. I am not going to cover a breaking hostage situation at the Texas synagogue. I will send you into that Texas synagogue right now if you don't stop linking. Breaking news about a fucking hostage situation in a goddamn synagogue. When have I ever covered breaking news? Stop! You know better. You're a 15-month subscriber. You've been in this community for such a long fucking time. I'm going to cancel you forever. Fuck. You have before Babylon? No, I personally do not. I don't. Unless there is, like, misinformation being spread. That's different than January 6th, dumbasses. We're not talking about the insurrection happening at the fucking Capitol. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a fucking school shooting or a mass shooting or a drive-by or an act of terror, I usually don't cover that when it's immediately breaking. One, because there's a lot of TOS violations. There's a lot of blood. Okay, I don't want to get fucking banned. And two, there's a lot of people who look to events like that to start spreading misinformation. So all the information that you get in a breaking news story like that oftentimes is fucking false. So why would I spread misinformation to 35,000 people? It's very, very fucking stupid. Okay? Oh. When information is all over the place, it's irresponsible to cover that story while it's new. Chatters don't ever say shit like that in the chat. I mean, they know better. Stop. Okay. So no one is actually fucking canceling Ethan either. It's just like dumb morons who have made a living crying about cancel culture, like trying to do cancel culture to someone else. And it's not sticking. It doesn't work. It's just people who will constantly fucking bring back old things that you've said that, old things you've said that you no longer believe. You know what I mean? The only thing that's been canceled more than Hasanabi is the last 3 seconds on the microwave popcorn. Good one. Which 99th of the time the accusers are using the words they're upset about? Yeah. So the other thing, what else we got to talk about? The other thing about this, like Ethan Klein saga, was that where the fuck was it? Okay, so we talked about my takes on it, people fucking jumping on, and then Jordan Peterson basically fucking tweeted, where is it? What are you up to, Ethan? We had a good conversation. I enjoyed meeting you and talking with you. What I have said precisely that motivated your actions. What have I said precisely that motivated your actions and your accusations? Deleting our discussions. An honest question. And then he like quote tweeted himself. Classic Jordan Peterson move. Quote tweeted himself and then fucking, what did he say? Fake friend Hostage?
I'm a shell of a man.
He used to say to Donnie all the time.
I'm a loser.
That's what he used to say to Donnie all the time.
Yeah, Steve's a
Donnie,
loser.
Judging someone by their past is judging someone who never existed, Donnie.
Not that desperate.
Is that better?
Why is he talking about me, Chad? So dumb, dude.
Bitch.
Everyone always says,
how have I been in
Steve,
LA
you're a
2 weeks
loser.
and the sun
Steve,
still
you
doesn't ask
shell
me
of
to
a
hang out?
man. You're useless.
Fake friend,
Blah,
fake
blah,
friend,
blah.
fake friend, fake friend, fake.
Oh my God, he's calling me fake friend. Dude, first of all, I don't know if he knows this, but it's called COVID. Okay, but yeah, no, I do want to chill with him. And it's been raining non-fucking stop. And I want to ball up with him too. Until this last message that I sent him asking him about this quote last night, I was the last person that hit him up, for the record. So he's the fake friend. True. So here, Jordan Peterson said, what are you up to, Ethan? Finally, you might seriously consider providing me with footage so I can post it, given that I agreed to appear on your show based on the agreement that there would be, in fact, a show. Also, I should warn you that those who engage in cancel culture generically live there regret it. I'm not going to come after you, except politely in this Twitter stream, but the chickens will definitely come home to roost. You will be held to a higher and higher and soon impossible to maintain ethical standards by the very mob you currently wish to please. Then you will make a mistake. They will devour you with glee. Please take this warning seriously. I liked you. Okay. So he's like seething. He's operating like the Dragon of Chaos here. So Ethan obliges and starts talking. He says, to start, you called a ban on conversion therapy moral grandstanding 6 days ago. 6 days ago when Jordan B. Peterson tweeted this, Ethan fucking texted this to me and he was like genuinely shocked. He's like, what the fuck? And I personally think that like Ethan maybe because of his affinity towards him early on when he had him on the show and stuff. Like, he literally just like, he was legitimately shocked. He was like, what the fuck? This is like insanely fucking Republican. And I was like, yes, I've been saying this for years. Thank you. Yes, he has always been that way. But now, many people are starting to recognize it, especially because like he is very open about his like reactionary points of view. Conversion therapy, more moral grandstanding from a juvenile OM. Okay? Because Justin Trudeau banned conversion therapy in Canada. Like, can you comprehend a person who claims to be a liberal saying this? Then he said, you believed in enforced monogamy from the New York Times interview. Violent attacks are what happens when men do not have partners, Mr. Peterson says, and society needs to work to make sure those men are married. He was angry at God because women were rejecting him, Mr. Peterson says, of the Toronto killer. The cure for that is enforced monogamy. That is why monogamy emerges. Enforced monogamy. Mr. Peterson does not pause when he says this. Enforced monogamy is, to him, simply a rational solution. Otherwise, women will only go for the most high-status men, he explains, and that couldn't make either gender happy in the end. That take is just red pill shit, okay? You're just a red pill pickup artist at that point. So, as someone who, like, covered this shit very closely, who's very familiar with that, it's just, he's doing incel theory. Like, he's doing fucking dialectical incelism, okay? That's a psychotic thing to fucking say in the New York Times and then have his fucking fan base who agrees with him defend him while still simultaneously holding on to the belief that he's not a fucking, incel right-winger. Okay. So, half the men fail, he says, meaning that they don't procreate, and no one cares about the men who fail. I laugh because it's absurd. You're laughing about them, he says, giving me a disappointed look. That's because you're female. Bro, this idea that, like, if you get no bitches, you're gonna fucking start doing murder is a psychotic one, okay? He owned her, though. She is a female. You're a broad. Your mischaracterization of Bill C-16 resulted in a surge of transphobia. The bill was created to add trans people as a protected group against hate crimes. Using the wrong pronoun would not result in anyone going to jail. In fact, to this day, 0 people have gone to jail. That's also true. Funny. Using the wrong pronouns would need to be considered in totality with other actions for it to constitute a hate crime, basically like any other hate crime, which, of course, ironically, was already in a legal precedent that existed. It just expanded on the federal level, okay? It was already in most places. It's like if you decriminalize marijuana in like every state and then decided to decriminalize marijuana at the federal level and people are like, this is going to destroy society. It's like, bitch, it already exists. The fuck are you talking about? But of course, because Americans are so goddamn stupid and don't recognize that like Canada has and different countries have different kinds of hate crime and hate speech restrictions, that they jumped on it and were like, this is a chilling effect on free speech. Shut the fuck up. Okay, you can't compel speech, man. Yes, you can. People compel speech all the fucking time. You are a fucking baboon, okay? Any incels in the chat, smilers, shut the fuck up, okay? There are hate speech restrictions in many countries, okay? In most countries. America is actually not the norm with how unrestrictive it is. And yet, even then, there are still hate speech and, well, not hate speech, but there are free speech restrictions. Free speech is not a maximalist, absolutist position you can take on it. There is no such thing. If that's the case, then fucking do slander, lie, perjure people, okay? Defame people without, and try to get away with it actively. Or violate copyright consistently. Another way to fucking destroy free speech. Yell fire in a crowded theater. Okay, you can't do these things, and the reason why you can't do these things is because even in America, that has the most unleashed, unrestricted free speech restrictions, there are still understandably fucking free speech regulations. Okay, That's it. Using the wrong pronouns would need to be considered in totality with other actions for it to constitute a hate crime, basically like any other hate crime. As I found you amicable and our conversation very interesting and insightful, but I am just not comfortable being a part of a pipeline leading to takes like this. Up yours, Justin Trudeau. Seriously, you'd have to kill me first. Why did he say this? Because he's getting 4,000 retweets and 27,000 likes. When Jordan Peterson crawled out of the fucking post-benzo addiction hole that he was in, okay, after he almost died in fucking like Croatia or Serbia or wherever the fuck he was, because his daughter wanted to go bang a fucking weirdo PUA guy at a fucking Serbian, hookah bar, okay, in the middle of fucking COVID apexing through the goddamn cities, and gave Jordan Peterson's like crippled body fucking COVID and almost murdered him, okay? After the experimental cold turkey benzo treatment that he could only get in fucking Russia, almost murdered him. He fucking had, 50 people liking his tweets. But now he's back. And now he's beefing up the fucking conservative, like, I hate these COVID restrictions bullshit, because it fucking makes him money. And you guys are fucking idiots for not recognizing that if you don't recognize that, okay? It's just very, very stupid. Like, imagine loving a dude who got owned by Apple Cider. Wouldn't be me. Anyway, so, like, what is this? If you're taking care of some last-minute Christmas shopping this week, here's something you can also add to your list, a booster. Up yours, Justin Trudeau. Seriously, you'd have to kill me first. Dog, you're going to die if you get COVID anyway. You have the constitution of, like, nothing, okay? You are frail. You are fragile as fuck. You will die to COVID if you get COVID. Get a fucking booster and protect yourself. This motherfucker almost died to apple cider, okay? If you almost died to apple cider, COVID could certainly fucking rip you, all right? And then CNN guest Jessica Malati calls on Spotify that plays warnings around Joe Rogan's podcast, alerting listeners his information is actually incorrect. Scientists call on Joe Rogan's podcast mass misinformation event, and he's saying scientists. They're not real scientists. So there it is. There it fucking is. These are some of the many different things that Jordan Peterson has said. Okay? If you want to talk about his fucking transphobia and all this other shit, there are videos that I have conducted. 89 countries worldwide have hate speech laws. 84% of European countries have hate speech laws. In the Americas, 11 out of the 35 have hate speech laws. Like, plenty of countries have hate speech laws, okay? And all people still at this point can fucking say is you're taking them out of context. Like the oldest fucking takes in the book that I have heard 1,000,000 times over, okay? 1,000,000 times over. EU is a bit overkill with their hate speech laws, to be honest. I do agree with that. Not only that, but also the very same people that fucking hate speech laws because it routinely claps their ass cheeks will regularly use, like, NetsDG, for example, to try and, region lock my VODs. So miss me with that bullshit. I get fucking clapped way more than everyone else by cancel culture and hate speech restrictions. Shut the fuck up. Okay? The impacts of cancel culture are negligible, as I've said time and time again. It's just annoying and a nuisance.